a couple days before the roll, I couldn't wait to get it rolling. And that morning, I was a little disappointed leaving my home because a lot of people said they were going to be there to set me off. We had a couple other people that were going to go with us. Me and my son completed this mission. With a lot of help from people here in this room and across the country. But we ran across 3 police officers before we left the state of Michigan. And the first police officer, he didn't even stop me. He was just rolling right along with me. And he goes, "Don't you think this is a little crazy?" And I looked at him and I said, "Officer, all I'm trying to do is get to Washington D.C. to see the president." And he says, "Well, I don't think this is very smart to you." And I just repeated a phrase to him. We got stopped by 5 police officers throughout the whole trip. And not one of them took us to jail. My son was worried that we were going to get pulled over and harassed. I said, "Son, don't worry. I got this in hand. So if I'm not right by the van, go ahead." We had a walkie-talkie. I said, "You give the walkie-talkie to the police officer, and I will talk to him." But overall, I got to see the country, that part of the country anyway, by a very unique way. And I had a lot of time to think. We had a lot of thumbs up throughout the journey. Most of the people that came up and talked to me were older people in the age group between 60 and 75. A lot of those people gave donations along the route. They'd come to me and they'd say, "Hey, we just got to ask, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm rolling to Washington, D.C. in favor of the legalization of cannabis." I've been in this cannabis fight since the 70s. My father was, if you don't mind me telling Heidi a little bit about the background, my father was a alcoholic, and marijuana saved his life. He was the state coordinator for NORML before he formed his own group called United Marijuana Smokers of Michigan. Well, he passed away in 2011, 12 days before my sister did. She had stage 4 melanoma and he had lung cancer. So in 2012, I decided to reopen the organization. And then in February, I decided I was going to roll my wheelchair to Washington, D.C. My father did it in 1978. He walked from his home in Taylor to the White House. Back in 1978, when he got to D.C., there was probably 20,000, 30,000 people there. When I rolled up to the White House, there was probably 50 people there. I guess a couple of years ago, the police have raided that park because they wanted to break it up. I guess there was a lot of smoking of marijuana and stuff on site. But
Carol,
overall, my trip was very interesting, and I learned a lot. I learned that some people aren't going to tell you the truth. When they tell you they're going to do something, they're not going to always tell you the truth. But I do want to thank my son most of all because
Come on, you get up here because you drove that. If I had to drive that van 5 miles an hour to Washington, I'd have to cover you for that.
Well, we slept the first one. The first 4 nights excuse me for a minute. The first 4 nights we stayed in the campground. Go ahead.
All right, the first 4 nights we stayed at the campgrounds, and it was kind of really tough on his body. His CP started acting up a little bit more. So after that, we stayed in a hotel for I think 2 days, and we camped again. So
I'm sorry
No, don't be sorry.
for being so emotional. But I've been fighting this fight for 40 years. And I'm sick and tired of seeing people that are dying of cancer and other illnesses that don't need to be. And I'm going back to Washington D.C. and I want to speak to the legislature because, let's face it, the president's only one man, and the legislature needs to hear about this as well. They've been messing with people's lives for a very long time, and I just can't deal with it. If cannabis was around, my father, my sister, my grandmother, and my three aunts that died of cancer might still be here today. Cancer runs rampant in my family. And so this is why I did this role, is because I want the people that need it for medicine, they need to get it. It's not about making money. It's not about growing weed and getting high. A lot of people call me kind of just a stoner wanting to get high.
Human rights.
Well, if that was the case, I could do that at my home and never be bothered again. Because when I went to court, the judge said to me, Mr. Kile, I don't know why it's not legal. They'll give you morphine, but they won't give you marijuana. I was facing 8 years in prison. I got 6 months probation, no court costs, no fines. My probation officer said she wanted to try some of my special spaghetti sauce when I got off probation. But she had a bad back. But this role taught me one thing. We've got to, as activists, we've got to come together. There's so many activists out there that they don't want to come together. And if we want to win this war on cannabis, we have to come together and beat the system, because there's enough people out there that if we can come together as one, we can definitely beat the system. People won't have to worry about locking it up in their trunk. They won't have to worry about the police coming in and knocking down their doors. I'm not afraid of the police. I'm telling you right now, if I ever get arrested by the police again, I have a Supreme Court case. I will not be railroaded into taking a plea. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to be a Supreme Court case. But I want you all to know that Heidi and Mitch are doing a wonderful thing here, educating people. And that's why I joined their organization, because people need to be educated about cannabis. A lot of people that, a lot of older people, I see, I thought it was just a young person's thing. But a lot of older people between the ages of 60 and 75 believe cannabis should be legal. And the only reason it's not is because there's splinters in the movement. We got to put all the differences aside. We got to help these patients. We got to help these people that are suffering. I hate to see somebody that's going through cancer treatment suffer. It doesn't have to be. I mean, they can smoke a joint and drink a milkshake and be happy. Honestly. We had my aunt over who moved in with us. She died of cancer. I mean, cancer's a bad word. And it affects everybody in some way. Even if you haven't had a family member, you've known somebody throughout your life that's died of cancer. And that's why I went on this role. But it was really a mind opener for me, and I realized we've got a lot of work to do, because it's a shame. what people have to go through because of a plant that grows up out of the ground. And next year, if I have to roll my wheelchair there again, I will. But I do plan to go back to Washington, D.C. before then and hopefully address Congress and tell them to quit bickering amongst themselves and let's start taking care of business. Because I feel that if they would quit screwing around, people could live. You know, there's a lot of money to be made in cancer. The hospitals, the doctors, you know, everything that's connected, all the services, hospice, all that stuff. They're making millions and millions of dollars off of people dying. And I hate to say it, but I don't think there's a real push to find a cure for cancer other than people that have been affected by it directly. The big corporations, they're making too much money. They don't care. And somebody called me a radical, somebody called me crazy, but I am a human being, and this is to me a human rights issue. And I do plan to go back. And Heidi and Mitch, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart because I know you did a lot